Well, hello there, and welcome to a new edition of Deporte Mundial. My name is George. I am your host and also the producer and chief editor of Deporte Mundial magazine. What we're going to talk about today is going to be two fights that are going to take place in the month of November. One of them being the fight between Ronda Rousey and Holly Holmes on November 14th at UFC 193. That's gonna be taking place live from Australia, and also the fight that is going to be taking place, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in Las Vegas between Canelo Alvarez and Miguel Cotto on November 25th. 22nd. Let's start with the main thing first. The first fight is coming up on our schedule. Ronda Rousey will take and defend her bantamweight championship, women's bantamweight championship title against an undefeated opponent once again in the form of Holly Holme. Holly Holme, it is a veteran of the sport of boxing. She is a 19-time boxing world champion. She has won every legitimate title that she can possibly have, so that the women's division in her weight class has got to offer in the world of boxing. She moved into MMA, and she is going to take on Ronda Rousey. She's been in the sport for a little while now. She's 9-0, like I said. She's a very well-rounded fighter, cage fighter. Holmes, that is. She is, willing to take the punishment, and she's willing to dish it out too, which makes it's gonna be an interesting fight, because the motive right here versus Ronda Rousey and Beth Correa, motive on that particular fight was, I want to kick her ass, basically, because she talks so much trash about me and my family. But the motive here happens to be that she's just defending her title, and she's going to defend her title fairly well, I believe. Holly Holm is the legitimate threat to Ronda Rousey's championship reign. We'll see what takes place on that department. Ronda said she's taking the fight very seriously, very cautious, as she's always do. There haven't been much trash talk. They both have the desire to win. It is the biggest pay-per-view that the UFC has ever put on together, taking place that is going to begin with, it's going to take place in Australia at a stadium in front of 70 or 75,000 people. That is going to be the largest capacity crowd that a pay-per-view for the UFC has ever taken place. With that in mind, also, we'll think, you're going to see co-main events, women's fighting as well. Joanna Chechenko, I think is called, with the strawweight title. She's going to defend her championship against a Canadian opponent. And, of course, Ronda Rousey is going to defend the title against Holly Holmes. Price of exhibition, is worth those two fights. So the rest of the card, who cares who's going to fight? Just because you have 4 women fighting in the co-main event and the main event makes a hell of a night for the UFC. Hopefully, I'm pulling for Ronda. Hopefully, Ronda's going to do well. And the other fight, we'll wait and see, because it is at a strawweight. It is a smaller pace, but it is also going to be an all-out war, because the champion, as Ronda Rousey has said, Giovanna fights to prove a point that she is the baddest girl on the planet on that particular division. So we'll see how that comes out. Coming this Saturday, November 14, live on pay-per-view, and also on the UFC network. It is going to be broadcast, this fight, for those of you UFC network subscribers. And if not, call your satellite or cable provider and order the fight you don't want to miss. It is Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holmes. 12-0 for Ronda Rousey. If she wins, she makes it 13-0. 9-0 for Holly Holmes. If she gets the victory and the W, she is going to be 10-0, and she also will make history if she wins, because she will be the first woman that has ever defeated Ronda Rousey. Switching gears to our November 21st match, still in the fighting style, boxing. We are going to have a Canelo Alvarez versus Miguel Cotto fight. Cotto and Canelo, they're going to keep on moving forward with the tradition of having fights between Mexico and Puerto Rico. I have noticed, I don't have many problems with the boxing sport. I think that the sport of boxing it was okay. Now I don't know anymore. It is different. It is different to predict. It is different to decide. The fight's gonna be a good fight. Don't make no mistake about it. But the thing to me, the catches is the fact that the sport of boxing is dead because of people like Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. So my thing now is, in order for you to have a fight, legitimacy, and in order for the fight to have relevance, or to become relevant, I should say, now you had to have people fighting on a catchweight. Before catchweight fights, there used to be dream fights. Dream fights where fighters really didn't want it to compromise at all, so they didn't want it. One of them, they wanted to go up to 145 or whatever whatever the situation was. For instance, so and so did not want it to move up to 160, so the other one, they wanted it to come down to 150. So okay, so let's fight at 155. So let's meet in the middle. That's a catchweight. But now, and you will have your dream match. And sometimes they will put titles on the line. Sometimes it will be for an exhibition. Sometimes it will be for a bag of money. Whatever the situation was. But the fact of the matter right now, it is that I just cannot. The fight Canelo versus Cotto is going to be a good fight. Canelo Alvarez has his coach that he has always had, in the previous fights throughout his career. And, now Miguel Cotto has Freddie Roach on his corner. And I think there is a match made in heaven for him, because they're both very professional. And I take nothing away from Canelo, but, Miguel is all business. He shows up for training, not like some other people that I know, and some other people that Freddie Roach used to have, that we're not gonna say names, like Chavez Jr. Oops, there we say it. So, but I think that the fight is gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be an all-out war, because it is like, I will use an analogy of the old WWE days. Like Gorilla Monsoon says, it is the resistible object versus the immovable force. Something's gotta give. They both great fighters. They both want the victory. They don't want, participation, second best place. They take second best place to nobody. Those two. I think that Canelo may have the upper hand if he lands and he establishes his style of fighting at the beginning of the rounds. He's got tremendous punching power. We know that. We know that he can go the distance. He has gone the distance before. He fought Shane Mosley because of going the distance, and everything else is just off the chart. Canelo is just Canelo. You can't blame the man for having one bad night against Floyd Mayweather. So did everybody else. So Mayweather is done. I'm glad that he retired. You can't screw the fans anymore, Floyd, man. Come on now. But the thing with me is that for Miguel Cotto, it is the title. It is all he's got right now, and he is to make his people proud. The people of Puerto Rico very proud, and fans around the world. Just because he's from Puerto Rico doesn't mean that only Puerto Rican fans are only his fans. He's got fans too. I think that the fight is gonna be a good fight. I don't think that it's going to be a BS circus like previous fights that we have seen in the past. I should say somewhere around May 2nd. You all remember what happened on May 2nd, so pointing on that. So here is the bottom line. My pick for this particular fight, as great, and this is with all due respect with Mexican fans and with all due respect to Canelo Alvarez fans, as great as Canelo Alvarez happens to be, Miguel Cotto is simply better. It's just, there's no other way to get it like that. It's simply better because he's been in the sport for a long time. He has fought fighters that are legitimately, that they have the legitimacy and the credibility that they are tough, that they fight back, and they are a household name. Canelo Alvarez has fought fighters, but they are not, and they are legitimately tough. They have the credibility, but they're not a household name. The only household name that he fought, and it was the biggest name in the history of his fighting, of his career, it was Floyd Mayweather, and he lost. He lost for 12 rounds and just stood there and didn't do anything. Who cares if he beat Jesucito Lopez, later on? Who cares if he beats, Kirkland, or if he beat Austin? Who cares about that? No one cares, because no one is gonna be content with the fact that he lost to Floyd Mayweather. And now, in the form of losing train of thought here. In the form of Miguel Cotto, he will have a fighter that is a household name, that it is legitimately tough, fights back for a change, and actually has credibility, which is great. So here are my picks. For the UFC 193, I pick Ronda Rousey to be the winner. I don't know if it's by knockout, by KO, by submission. It does not matter. I'm not gonna give you a round, because you never know with Ronda. Ronda can go 5 rounds, or she can go 2 seconds or 16 seconds in round number 1, like she did before. I don't know, but I'm picking Ronda to win. Hopefully she will win. So we're hoping for that, or at least I'm hoping for that. I don't know about y'all. And for the Canelo Alvarez versus Miguel Cotto fight, I'm thinking I have to go with Miguel Cotto because of experience, because of the number of fighters that he has fought in the past. One of them being Ricardo Mayorga, who is one of the toughest SLBs in the history of boxing. One of the hard-punching fighters that I have ever met, that I have ever seen fight from Nicaragua, other than Alexis Arguello. But I think that those are my 2 picks, for these 2 rounds in particular fights. One of them is going to be Miguel Cotto on the boxing championship match on November 21st, and of course I'm picking Ronda Rousey for UFC 193 to win the fight against Holme. Now, hopefully I'm right. Hey, listen, if you like this video, give me a like this on the video, leave me a note on the comments section, and subscribe to my YouTube page. Also, you can follow me on my Twitter page at twitter.com/@deportemundial1. This has been all for today. This is George. I see you and signing out. Talk to you on Monday when I post the video for the fight for with the results of the UFC 193. I'll see you on Monday. See ya.